Yes, as the title probably gives away, I have indeed sold my beloved Ferrari. In fact, I'm sat in the very spot where the car would normally be, but as you can see, it is indeed gone. And what may well have been the quickest sale in history, I think about 18 hours from initial call to pick up, a subscriber has grabbed the opportunity and now has it in his custody. It's not an especially easy thing to sell. It's a car that I'd planned on keeping for quite a bit longer, but the reality of owning such a car, for what is quite an ordinary guy, begins to hit home pretty hard. I became quite precious about the car, which I really didn't like, if I'm honest. If it was to get a stone chip or a scratch or, anything happened to it, it was quite a big deal for me because I cared so much about the car. It was a mood ruiner. As a result, I wound up not really using it all that much. I'd only take it out in perfect weather conditions on roads that I already knew where all the potholes were. I know, it sounds insane, doesn't it? And it doesn't really tally with who I am as a person. I quite like value for money, minimal expense for maximum enjoyment. And if anything, the Ferrari was kind of the inverse of that. I mean, where we are now in the year gives you a real good insight into it. So the car was sorted at the end of October, and usually I'll retax it in March. Live in Scotland, use a lot of salt on the roads. I'm not going to subject a 25-year-old Ferrari to that. So for a kick-off, that's nearly half of the year that you don't get any use of it whatsoever. And during that time, I'll usually tend to store it somewhere so that I have my space here to continue working on other cars, which of course, that storage comes at an expense as well. When it comes out of that storage, it's due its annual service. This coming year, that would have included the timing belts. Given it's an older car, every 3 years you need to do the belts on these cars, and if you risk it and try and push it out, you're taking a real big gamble there. So the bill for that would have been somewhere in the region of £3,500 to £4,000, just depending on exactly what needs done. Now at this point, some of you might be asking, well, why not do the work yourself? Save the money. The answer to that is equally as frustrating, because I would happily do the work myself, but that particular car, well, it had 25 years of pristine Ferrari main dealer and well-known specialist history, which in these cars is where the value lies. It would almost be counterproductive for me to take the time to do the work myself, because the money that I would save servicing it, well, you could take that right back off the residuals. It's an incredible amount of money for maintenance on a car that's covering, what, 2,000–3,000 miles per year? And that's before anything breaks, which it might, given it's 25 years old and it's all a bit Italian. To put it simply, I was getting a bit sick of the money to enjoyment ratio. So a very valid question at this stage would be, well, why did you buy it? Surely you knew this was the case. Well, yeah, I did. But much like the child who's eating all the sweets, it's not until the bellyache sets in that you start to rethink things, is it? It was absolutely my childhood dream car. I genuinely did have a poster of one on my wall. And I also firmly believe that, we've got one go in this life. We tend to regret the things that we don't do more than the things that we do. Mark Twain, I think. I remember my older brother, he rented one when I was about 17, I must have been 17, 18 years old. At the time, I had a knackered Renault Scenic, right? I think there's a photo of this. I'll try and dig it out and add it in now. Now, I used that old Renault Scenic at the time to deliver Chinese food whilst I was at uni. That was my livelihood. And I remember just being completely in awe at this Ferrari. It was everything and more that I'd envisaged from that poster on my wall come to life. So I guess in many ways, the car was a skeleton in the closet of my youth. A completely unobtainable one for most of my life. But as we progressed, little by little, it became slightly more achievable with the occasional sacrifice, until I eventually got to the point where I thought, yeah, I could buy one of these. So suffice to say, I don't regret it one bit. I still think it's one of the prettiest cars ever to exist. And I even managed to buy one in schoolboy specification, the Rosso Corsa red paint over the Nero leather interior. The evocative open gate manual that tells everyone that you yearn for a time gone by, the Ferrari shields and so on. I feel extremely grateful to have owned it, but I've done it. The skeleton no longer hides in the closet. To keep the car and become more frustrated at the lack of use and expense would likely just lead to tainting my experience of the car. I got out whilst I was ahead, and now I can live with the wonderful memories of it. So not a case of don't meet your heroes, a case of get out before you overstay your welcome and they punch you in the face. To drive these cars, I think most people go one of two ways now. If you enjoy what the modern car world has become, where everything's quite heavily assisted and computerized, you'll likely think the Ferrari's a bag of old nails. If, like me though, you think that we've kind of lost something with modern cars, you'll probably love it. In the context of the modern automotive world, its mechanical analog personality, I think it shines twice as bright. It's interesting because I do suspect that quite a large amount of these car purchases are fueled by a lust that's instilled from childhood, which would explain to some degree why they all seem to have about 15, 20 previous owners. I don't think the experience that I'm sharing here is very unique. Each one of those previous owners is probably just another me, fulfilling the childhood dream before the reality hits home a few years down the line. Then you go off and buy a Porsche, like I done, for £3,000, less than the price of a Ferrari service, and embrace the stone chips. Don't worry so much about them. I guess what I've come to learn here is the fragility that comes with a really special car like that is kind of not for me anymore. If anything, I love the cars more than I ever have. It's all the circumstances that come with them that for me outweighed the car in the end. The kind of things that you tend not to think about when you're 8 years old. So it's gone, for good. The itch has been well and truly scratched, and the car has gone on to fulfill another dream, I guess. There's something quite fulfilling and wholesome about that, isn't there? Anyway, as ever, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've not just been subscribed to this channel for Ferrari 360 content, in which case I'll see you later. If not, please do continue to hang around. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button and watch me make another financially irresponsible decision down the line. But as ever, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.